guys, here is my first go round at filming a coyote hunt. It's about 5:15 in the morning. I think sunup is about 6:30, so we can start shooting around 30 minutes before sunup. So it's about 6 o'clock. Driving to a local farm, and the farmer has lost a couple of chickens, and he's always had chickens, and he hasn't necessarily had a problem with coyotes. So I think there's a new guy in town that has a taste for them, and he's kind of leading the pack in the area. So we're going to go see if we can put some pressure on it and give this farmer some relief. I'm meeting two friends there, Lucas and Terry, and I'm actually just bringing a bow. But the first set in the field, I'm not going to set up at all. I'm just going to try and film, and I'm going to let them get a crack at a coyote coming across the field. And then after that, we're going to head into the bush, and that's maybe where I'll do some filming and maybe try and set up with my bow. But anyways, here goes it. Like I said, this is my first kick at the can for filming a hunt. It's something we want to try and bring to the Muskoka Bros clientele or fan base here, that getting out there is not just camping and whatnot, but it's also conservation and hunting. And hunt to harvest for a lot of other animals. So anyways, here we go, guys, and wish me luck. Hey guys, so we're all set up. I got a guy to my left and a guy to my right, overlooking different areas. We're about 20 minutes from shooting light, and I'm talking as quiet as I can. We've made enough noise walking in here that is a coyote in the distance. And that is a good sign. He's over there. He's barking, which generally is a bit of a challenge or a warning, so I'm really hoping that he's not warning about us. Where he is right now, the wind isn't going from us to him, so we really shouldn't be winded right now. But it's possible maybe the guy over there got noticed, or it could be totally unrelated. But anyways, that's a good sign when you hear a coyote right away when you get out. We haven't started our callers yet, so I'm going to shut this down for now and put together a plan on how to call that coyote in. They've just done a serenade howl. They are off to my right, about 200 yards in the bush line. They've all answered back to my female invitation, and now I've put on some rabbit distress to let them know I've been hunting and see if I can make them jealous, see if they'll come out and want to either challenge me or take the rabbit that I've just killed. So Terry's just fired a shot. I don't hear a follow-up shot yet, so I'm thinking he's been successful. I'm just going to give it a few seconds to see if another one sticks around, and then I'll head over there. Terry's overlooking a gravel pit. You can see it off in the distance. And when we first came in this morning, they were howling at us from over in the gravel pit. I think they heard us walk in, but they didn't wind us, so they didn't know what we were. And I'm just going to change my call now to some pup distress. So I've got some pup distress on now to see if another one will hang up or come back. Unfortunately, on this caller, I don't have like an adult distress, but I've got some pup distress going. So we've been playing some female invitation, which they responded to. Then we played some jackrabbit in distress for a while, and when they didn't come out, I started playing with pup distress and wolf pup distress. I just did that for about 10 minutes, and then I took a pause, and I switched back to jackrabbit, let that run for a while, and that's when I heard Terry's 270 go off. So I haven't seen him get up yet, so I'm thinking he's probably still waiting for more animals or more coyotes to hang up. So we're looking at a fresh dump. So obviously a coyote, this thing is no more than an hour old. So obviously this coyote was one of the ones that was howling at us. And then as I'm walking along, I see it. And what do I see over here? Very fresh tracks. Nothing melted in yet. So anyways, these are the things that get us excited here. You know, seeing sign, they call it. So that's, you know, droppings, tracks, broken branches. And it's all kind of stuff that sort of keeps us in touch with, you know, what's going on. It's like a fingerprint that they leave behind. Okay, so Terry's just texted me and said that he watched this guy for about 10 minutes, and the guy wouldn't come in any closer, about 300 yards. And he said the coyote finally looked at him, and he had a bead right on him. And Terry's a good shot, so he said he squeezed off. And the guy was just on the backside of a little mound. So basically the hunt's blown right now. And when I say blown, I mean, you know, we've been busted. The gunshot's gone off. So anything that was in the area that we didn't notice is probably gone for a walk the other way. So we're getting up right now, and we're just going to go have a look at where Terry saw the coyote and took a shot, and we're just going to see if we got him. So let's go for a little walk. Alright, here's the mound he was laying on, and we don't see any traces of blood, so probably a clean miss. And it happens, the more you get out, the more stories you have of misses. But
not next time, though.
Not next time. No, next time we let the heart calm down a bit and we relax. And I've missed my share. I've missed one last year and one this year already. And that's just not from calming down. So I got one here a couple days ago, and that's why we're back. It's such a big area, and it's jam full of coyotes. So we are just gonna head into the bush now, and this bush, I'm told the entire forested area is about 3,000 acres, and it kind of, there's about probably 15 farms that back onto it in all different areas, and it's a bit of a conservation area here in Georgina. So anyways, here we go. All right, so we're all packed up, and we are gonna head into the bush.
and see what happens.
Looking that way, and then looking this way I have Lewckas, and I'm gonna be back here just doing some mouth calls, probably just some rabbit in distress. And what we find in the bush, the coyotes put their guard down quite a bit, so they don't worry about wind as much because there's so much protection for them. And we got the hunters looking in 2 different directions, and all right, let's get going here. So Terry's got to take off now. He's got to get to work. Funny how that gets in the way, but me and Lewckas are going to stay out for probably 1 or 2 more sets. We'll walk in a bit further, and we'll see if we can find something. This is a pre-existing tree stand. I'm assuming it's for deer, but the farmer has cut a bunch of trails, and he's got 2 stands up that I've noticed, and there's deer tracks here like crazy. So we're gonna sit down here and do some more coyote calls. And this is about 200 yards in the bush and about 100 yards from where we just were. And this is almost exactly where I shot the coyote a couple days ago. So these elevated tree stands, they allow you to, oh, that's pretty noisy. These elevated tree stands, they really give you a huge line of sight. It's amazing when you get a few feet off the ground how high you can, or how far you can see. And also it keeps your scent up in the air. The higher you are, the higher up your scent is. And they call it a scent cone. So the further your scent gets from you, the wider it gets. And your scent cone is up a ways. And when you leave these permanent tree stands, the animals get used to them. And then the deer, they'll walk by them like they're nothing. And then one day, you know, there's a hunter in there, and but it doesn't just happen like that. You'll see in this video, we're hunting pretty hard, and I'm not sure we're going to be successful today, but for deer, I've sat out dozens of times and had nothing but tag soup. So you know, they call it hunting and not killing, because really these animals, their senses are so much better than ours. Their smell, hearing, sight, and if we can't out logic them and use our brains, we're not going to beat them with brawn, and we're not going to beat them with senses. So hunting's not an easy thing, but in all of this, I'm out in the bush right now, and I'm just soaking in nature, and that's a big part of it for me. I've gone 15, 20 sets looking for coyotes, and nothing. They just beat me, but I'm out there. I'm getting exercise, and just getting closer, and so you just got to get out there. Frozen. I will definitely be throwing this away. A wounded rabbit. So I think we're going to call it now. I love hunting the bush out here because you can get away with a lot more movement. You know, me standing here like this, if you were 10 feet from me, I'm pretty obvious, but if you're 70, 80, 90, 100 feet from me, I'm just another log leaning against a log. And I can actually, with the white backdrop and the base of the trees, you can often see movement from one tree to the next. So that's how you see the deer or the squirrels or the coyotes. You just see the movement because everything is still. And then you just see a flash of gray or a flash of brown, and you know you're onto something. But if I'm just kind of standing here like I am, nothing's going to sneak up on me. I can see in 360 here. And, I just love hunting the bush. It's, you go on YouTube and you watch a lot of coyote hunters, and they're always in the edges of fields, and they're calling coyotes out into the field, and I do that every time as well. I enjoy that. But you really have to trick them to get them to come running out into the field, because it's not natural for them. They don't want to expose themselves. And so that's why we use things like decoys that have spinners on them, so that the noise that the caller is putting out is when the coyote comes and looks into the field, then what they've been hearing, that rabbit or that coyote, is confirmed to them because they see the spinner going. But in the bush here, this is their home right now. This is their habitat, and this is where they find the majority of their food, from rabbits to mice to deer. And the farm fields are generally for transportation. Sometimes they'll get mice in the farm fields, or the edges of the farm fields. They'll get rabbits in the tree lines, but for the most part, this is where they sleep at night, and this is where they do a lot of their hunting. And so I love coming into the bush. I've taken 2 coyotes out of the bush with rifles. I know a lot of guys use shotguns. With the shotgun, you're limited to, say, 50 yards, give or take. And both of the coyotes I've taken in the bush have been further than that. So I just wait for a good shot to present itself, and wait for a good line of sight, and then squeeze the trigger. And so I generally carry a rifle in the bush. If I had a setup where I knew something was going to come in very close, inside of 40 yards, I'd bring a shotgun. But anyways, that's... This guy's been staring at me the whole time. My spidey senses picked it up.
They know we're after them, so they're not coming out to play.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? We made a big boom earlier today with a shot, and actually on our walk into the bush, we did hear a couple other shots from probably a few farms over. So that gets them a little bit on edge. And it's about 10 o'clock right now in the morning, and this is they've been hunting all night, so this is the time they're going to want to come back to their den and chill out for a bit. So again, with the mouth calls that we do and the electronic calls, we are trying to either pique their appetite or pique their curiosity. And we were able to do it this morning unsuccessfully, and 2 bush hunts here today unsuccessful. And that's really, to be honest with you, that's the majority of my coyote hunts are unsuccessful, in the fact that I don't harvest an animal, but successful in the fact that I'm out here, I'm exercising, I'm enjoying nature. And it's just another way to get out there. I mean, there's canoeing, hiking, paddle, all different types of paddling, fishing, trapping, hunting. And for me, it's one big sphere of influence. And they influence me and I influence them. But here we are. Lewckas.
I wish we could influence them to come out and play.
Yeah. So, Lewckas, you're relatively new to hunting. What got you interested in it, and how do you feel about it so far?
I'd feel better if I killed a coyote, but it's just fun, man. I just love the same thing, just being out, walking around, enjoying nature, getting away from the busyness of life. Right?
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
Great. And of course, what guy doesn't love firing guns?
Yeah. So, what interests you in shooting guns?
Just the idea, I guess, of what's going to happen at the other end when you harvest that animal, and you eliminate a coyote, and that is helping out the deer, helping out the turkeys that you're planning to actually hunt to eat, right? Put food on your table. So
yeah, absolutely. You know. Now, what interests you about shooting paper, target shooting?
What interests me? Picturing a coyote instead of a piece of paper.
Yeah. And now I've target shot with you before, and you are a good shot. What do you think makes you a good shot?
Practice.
Yeah.
For sure. Practice and just your you know, the fun of doing it, and you have to have a passion for it. If you're not passionate about it, then you're not going to want to improve.
Right.
So when you're passionate about something, you want to practice it and get better. It's an art, right?
Right.
It's, yeah.
Well put.
Yeah. It's an art, but we can't seem to master it here today.
Well, like I say, you know, they're better than us. They truly are, and
sure.
if we can't figure out how to use our big fat human brain to trick them, they just ain't coming in. I can only imagine how many times I've gone out and I've been busted by them. So, but
there's always next time.
There is always next time. It's like the Leafs.
For the sake of an emergency, but just being able to take pictures and look back on the memory and the time that you spent. That's the kind of technology I'm about.
Yeah.
Better than sitting in front of the TV watching Netflix. Mind you, there's a time and a place for that.
Yeah, there is.
But beautiful day like this, I wore my big coat and I had to take it off our first set, and I had to switch it out from the sweater I'm wearing.
That's a really nice feeling from 2 months ago when we were hunting at minus 25.
Oh, buddy.
That, yes, sitting, doing nothing at minus 25, no matter how many layers you have on, is an exercise in, you know, mental strength, because everything is frozen. And why do we keep sitting even when we're absolutely frozen?
Yeah. I texted you the one time and I said, I think they won today. And you said, my toes lost.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's crazy the way you're not moving. Like the walk in, you're soaked with sweat by the time you get to the spot. But then you sit for 10 minutes and you're completely frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, you sweat, you die.
But it's worth it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm Joe Robinette right now, walking, talking, and got the GoPro on the stick here.
Yeah, well, beautiful day though. Beautiful day.
Absolutely. It's about, what is it, 2 or 3 degrees above zero right now.
Yeah.
So, what do you got on for layers?
I've got, I just got a pair of track pants under my insulated overalls, and then I've got a long john, long t-shirt underneath with a pullover sweater, and then this second pullover sweater. So 3 on the top and 2 on the bottom.
Yeah, actually.
And 2 pairs of socks.
That's exactly, I got 2 pants, 3 tops, 2 pairs of socks, a toucan of balaclava, and I was toasty. I mean, comfortable. And I would never been able to film if it was minus 20. 1, because the equipment would probably freeze up, but 2, my fingers would never be able to touch the screen and unlock it on my phone.
You wouldn't be able to tell if you were unlocking it.
Yeah.
You go, I think I'm in the right spot.
Yeah. I see a lot of guys out taping their hunts, and they probably just have done it a lot more than I have, because I feel like I would probably bust a hunt, and I might have some of my movement today here filming. Who knows? That could have been a coyote that we didn't see that saw me because of my movement, grabbing my camera or grabbing the GoPro. And this, you know, sorry, Lucas, might have ruined your day today, but...
Oh, I've had a great day.
But yeah, I just wanted to capture this. You know, David and I and Dylan have been talking a lot about, there's lots of things the Muskoka Bros do outside that we haven't made films about yet. And we're on a farm, as you know, and we do have a bit of a coyote problem. You know, we've had coyotes right up to the French doors at the back of the house, trying to, you know, challenge my dogs, thinking somehow my dogs can come outside. And we've had them chase my dogs back to the French doors. And like I've told you before in the other video, the coyote problem on the homestead video, I have 2 big dogs, but coyotes they're right packed up right now in their family, and you know, they kill every day to eat, so they're just better at fighting and killing than domestic dogs. And so, you know, I think the domestic dogs, they pick up on that. There's a bit of a swagger, I think, that a coyote has or a wolf has compared to a domestic canine, and I think the dogs pick up on that energy. But anyways, so I've put a little pressure on them and they've been away, so that's good. But this guy has chickens, this farmer where we're at right now, and like I said earlier in the video, he hasn't really had problems with coyotes in the past. I mean, they're always on his farm, but they haven't been bothering his chickens. But I guess there's a new sheriff in town, and he's got a taste for chickens. So this guy was more than happy to have us come onto his property and try and put some pressure. You know, in hunting we call it pressure. If one spot gets hunted too much, it's over-pressured. But if it's not hunted at all, there's no pressure. And I think the coyotes in this area just feel like, you know, they're going to be okay. So we're here to put a little bit of pressure on them. And I got one a few days ago, and we took a shot at one today. And so that does put some human pressure on these coyotes. And I feel like Justin Trudeau saying, and so much. But anyways, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Now, we've called this place out, I think. In the last week, we've been here twice. And so we can come at this back bush from a different area, but I don't think we can call again here for a little bit, because another term we use in hunting is educated. So I think when we've taken a shot and missed, we've educated the rest of the coyotes that when they hear these calls, the rabbit in distress and the other coyote calls, and then there's a bang and one of the guys doesn't come home, then they're educated to that. They're very smart. So
there was a second bang today when we were walking in.
Yes, yeah, it would be definitely a hunter on another property. Actually, the prime hunting time for most guys is, you know, December through to spring, early spring. I think part of it is because there's no big game open in most parts, and coyotes are most active and easiest to see in the winter, you know. Okay, so we're just walking in the bush, and Lewckas just noticed a tree stand. So if you look at that, it's again another permanent tree stand, and he's used an old satellite antenna or whatever, and then the tree stand that's strapped up to the tree. And then you can see here someone's taken some time to clear a nice path here, and in this, you can imagine in the fall, this would be paths would be a very nice, you know, easy ways for deer to get through the bush. And then what we got over here, we noticed this too, is a gravity feeder. So you can feed before, with deer in Ontario, you can feed up to, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks before the season starts. And so you put the grain in up here, and then as the deer keep chomping the grain out of here, it continues to fall down, and there's a steady supply of grain or corn or whatever they have in there, molasses and oats. And this, what it does is it habituates an animal to a certain area. So the deer will make this little path and this feeder part of their routine. And again, when that stand stays in one spot, they get used to it. And you're up high enough that your scent cone is going to be above them. And this is what you got, basically. It's called baited, you know, hunting over bait, or a baited stand. And it's pretty common for deer hunters. It is not easy at all to get a deer. In Ontario, we can't use rifles, in southern Ontario. we can't use rifles, so you can't shoot a deer across a field, which would be the easiest way. I don't think there's a more skittish animal than deer. We have 1 week of the year where we can use a shotgun. In October, November, there's 1 week in those 2 months where you can use a shotgun, and 1 week in December I think you get a muzzle loader, which is a rifle that shoots a ball and not very effective past 100 yards. So there's a lot of bush hunting for deer with shotguns and with bows, and I would imagine this guy right here is sitting up there with a bow, a compound bow and arrow. And you know, so what happens is the deer come along, they're habituated to this trail, and I mean the deer, they're gonna live in, you know, huge, massive areas, so they're not here every day. So a lot of times a hunter's gonna come here in the morning and they're not here, and they've come here at night, or they came here yesterday or the day before, because they have a massive area to tour. But anyways, it's just kind of neat that Lewckas saw this here, and I thought I'd put it on film and just show what some other big game hunters are doing. All right. What do you think of scat? I thought maybe it's dog because we're getting closer to the farm, but there's tons of hair in it, and this is gross, I know. But you see the hair in it? It tells me right away that is coyote poo, because they've ingested something with hair.
So he's gonna hit me cold.
Yeah, so I'm hitting Lewckas cold with some questions here. This is my buddy Lewckas. He lives in Georgina, Ontario, and he owns his own painting business. Just a little plug there, Stuckless Painting.
Yeehaw.
But I met him through Facebook. Social media brought us together, and we followed the same site. And I'm gonna ask you, what was the best part of today?
Being outside.
What was the worst part of today?
Not getting a coyote.
All right. And what was the best part of running into some random guy who invited you out hunting?
Just making a new friend, really. That was the best part of it.
And the worst part?
Can't really think of the worst part.
Not yet, anyways.
You're a great guy. Yeah, you haven't given me a reason to think of anything like that. No, it's great. It's great connecting and meeting new people, right? And it's great. Social media can do a lot of good stuff that way, and you can meet people that you would have never otherwise known about. And well, I told you I had seen you actually on, like I'd seen you around town. I'd seen your Jeep with and your trucks with the Sequoia treescape on it. Around, I recognized the company, but I would have never known you to be the owner until we connected and you told me, right? So it's great to meet new people and go hunting and get outside and enjoy Mother Nature. It's great. Man. Yeah. All
right, buddy. Go home, get something to eat, get something to drink, and go have a nap.
Have a little nap.
All right, so we've made the walk back. We're back at the vehicles. Tired, hungry, thirsty, and Lewckas and I were just talking about survival stuff. I've got a tin cup on me, and I've got several different types of fire starter to get safe water, but no food, no emergency food, no Cliff Bars or nothing. And sure, we're only 500 yards, 600-700 yards maybe from civilization, but you twist an ankle and you can't walk in the snow and the ice, and it becomes a survival situation. So I've got some repacking to do in my backpack here, and I can't think that just because I can hear traffic doesn't mean that I'm not going to get in trouble. So anyways, that was kind of neat that we were talking about that. And yeah, we're going to put everything away, and I really hope you enjoy this video. I've really been excited to put it together. I want to put it together the right way, because I'm worried about what people think about hunting and hunters. And maybe I'm a little too overcautious. Maybe I should have a little more faith in my fellow bushcrafters and outdoor enthusiasts. But Muskoka bros love to get out there. I love to hunt. Dylan hunts a bit, and David's just getting into it right now. And I just see it as one more thing to do out in nature. And So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I look forward to your comments. Did you grow up in a hunting home? Did your mom or dad hunt? Did your brothers or sisters hunt? Do you trap or anything like that? I'd love to hear your comments. And if you don't, I'd love to hear what you think of hunting and why, and maybe we can have a conversation. But anyways, I'm going to sign out here for now. If you do like this video, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us and check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And I think above all, most importantly, you just got to get out there.